Let me actually get my cats open. Oh, there we go. Hello. Yeah, that works pretty well. Okay. How's everyone? Scooch that in a bit. It's a little muddy out. We've been having storms. I like that. That little, let's see. Yeah, that flows nicely. Yeah, that'll do. Thank you. Yeah, I'm in North Carolina. It's been flipping between hot and cold and hot and cold. Not that cold, but like last week we had highs in the 90s, and this week we have had lows in the 30s. So this is that time of year for North Carolina where you have no idea what the weather's going to be. It's gonna like we go through like 4 seasons in a week over here. I can recognize a few words here and there, but I am by no means fluent at all. I can just kind of point and be like, oh wait, I know that word. Let's see. Someone wants to see. Let's see. Crooked cut. Yeah, the Grumpa. Grumpa. I was already kind of doing one actually. That little sequence I was experimenting with, where I went like this to there. That was a Krumpau from the bind into a Zwerkow. I'm using my heavier longsword today. This one is quite a lot of sword. Now let's see this. Yeah, I mean it comes up to the mic. It's not greatsword length by any means. It's just this is a full-on longsword. It is not like I can use it kind of one-handed, especially if I get a finger over the guard. Then I can definitely start to use it. Something a bit more one-handed, but it is not a one-handed sword. It wants to be held in two. It asks for 2 hands. Let's see. Oh, that's exciting! Congratulations, Claudius. Yeah, so this is still a bit. This is still pretty squarely in that ambiguous longsword territory, as I was just saying. So this is not a true two-hander. I mean, look at how short. Like it's a long sword, but it is a short two-handed sword. This is that weird gray area where it doesn't want to be a one-handed sword, but it's still not really a two-handed sword. Every now and then I do it. Again, case in point. It is a sluggish sword in one hand, but if you needed to use it in one, I mean, it's doable. I'm listening for thunder. I'm trying to figure out if it's just getting darker because it's getting later, or if that's a storm cloud coming in. We'll find out. I only brought out a few things today, so if it does start pouring, shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, it wants to be used in 2, but it does okay in 1. Yeah, 1 3/4 hand sword. Yeah, that's probably honestly, yeah. It's a 1 3/4 hand sword. How effective are metal? I mean, I would imagine they probably help fine against superficial cuts, but I don't really have any experience with them. I haven't looked at Superfen too much. I know they have a pretty good beginner thing, and then a lot of people seem to like their stuff. I find that the gold standard right now for long swords is, well, actually, just the gold standard right now is a AP Spez Light. So the AP Light, I think, is pretty much the gold standard right now, and then everything else is worth comparing to that. My favorite color, lightsaber, yellow. I like a yellow lightsaber. Do I struggle to improve or find greater nuance constantly? Oh, that's an interesting one. Oh boy, this chat's moving fast. Let me put a pin in that one. Can I do a? Yeah, sure, I could do a rapier lunge with this. There's nothing stopping me from doing that. But first, I want to hit the. Someone had a really good question. Okay, so do you struggle to improve or find greater nuance? Okay, okay. So do I struggle? Do I find it is getting dark? Do I struggle to improve or find greater? A little bit of both. I mean, I am always since I've started studying like the Meyer stuff really intensely, I have found greater nuance with great regularity, and I always feel like I'm learning new things to apply. You will hit plateaus. So basically before I started doing the Meyer stuff, I had really plateaued hard, and I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. And I was just going through the motions. Just I didn't have anything that was really inspiring me. And then I started working from Meyer's work, and I started getting answers to questions I'd had for a long time. And suddenly I got this whole new tactical framework to explore and try out. And suddenly I'm now like deep into this Kool-Aid here, the Meyer Kool-Aid. I'm like, oh my gosh, he has so many interesting solutions to problems I've been having. So I've just been trying to really work on and hone that stuff. And so, of course, Meyer is not a small book. You know, the 1570 it's a lot. It is a lot to unpack. So I will have plenty to dig through for the next, I mean, who knows how long. Someone was asking about the lunge. Yeah, lunge, the lunge. I'm going to full send a lunge. Let me not have the sword pointing just in case. Yeah, so you know, of course, long sword you could pop like that, right? But you know, there's nothing stopping me from giving the one-handed thrust, or alternatively, giving the two-handed, I mean the offhand thrust. That's always a fun one, especially with the length. That is the nasty trick you can pull with a sword of this size. Is that suddenly when we talk about using swords in two hands, there's often, I mean, there is the quality that using two hands on a sword reduces your reach. I can hit this. The meat of my sword is on the pel right about here. But if I keep this here and let go with my offhand, I can do it from all the way back here now. It might not look like a whole lot on there, but when you're throwing swords at each other, that much distance makes a big difference. And so with a handle this long, if you don't let go with the front hand back, now you've got some serious reach. And where you can really apply that is in the thrust. It's a little tricky to aim it, especially if you're holding it by like a round pommel. If you actually have your hand still on the handle, aiming that is a lot easier, but you can do it from the pommel. That's usually where I end up going with it, but yeah, it works fine. What can I about fighting with a greatsword? Impact formation. Treat it like a polearm at that point. Just use it as a polearm. You know, if you're in a tight formation with a two-handed sword, I mean, it's you can't do any of this. You've got people around you, so you're basically just kind of constrained to being like, boom, 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 and some of these. Right? You can do these all day. It's just a whole lot of this. Formation fighting is not elegant. There's no. It's just not. There's room for some expression of skill, but it's more about your ability to work in cohesion with other people, far more so than your individual ability. Because you don't have the space, you don't have the ability to move around, you don't have control of any of these factors that allow for like complex skill expression. And it's not, you don't even necessarily have the ability to use like timing and distance. You're basically stuck using timing because there's a guy behind you, so you can't play distance. You'll bump into that guy. So you basically just have to sit here, use your fundamentals, and use timing, and hope for the best. Welcome, Alex. Oh, the rebellion. Actually, I was actually just playing DMC before I came out here. I had skipped over DMC 5, and then it was on sale for like $7. So I was like, you know what? Now's the time to actually play it. So I picked it up, and now I was actually playing DMC 5 before I came out here. The anime reminded me of playing it, so I was like, you know what? I haven't played it. I should go play it. You should take up whatever sword interests you the most. Oh, is it rain time? Maybe. I have not done the Damascus sword thing. Yeah, it's gonna rain. I'm gonna bring this action inside before I get poured on. That's a shame. Ugh. Let's put the cover. Ugh. Keep my rope from getting soggy. There we go. Let's see. This, get that. We will continue this inside. Okay. The fun part is carrying all this stuff at once. That's the tricky part. But we will go inside and we will continue. For a while, at least. There you go. You all get this view of, I don't know what. I can't even see it. Okie dokie. You're making progress. Hello. You're fixing my guy.
I haven't finished doing the trigger.
Oh. All right. We're back. Inside. I am live. Ugh, okay. And my sword did not fall out of the scabbard, even though I was really pushing the envelope on that one. I was not sure that was going to stay. But now we're inside. So we can keep discussions or whatever. Oh, just gotta put things places. All right, where was I? Oh, thank you. Well, I'm glad it's helpful. Have I incorporated some Japanese sword techniques into your longsword fighting? No, I've never studied it. Welcome, halberd guy. I have a halberd. Oh, yeah. There you go. Look at that. Just for you. Have I done archery stuff? Yeah. Yeah, I've done archery stuff. This is my bow. I like my bow. There we go. Hit. One bow. It's about, I think it's about 55. Yeah, I think it's about 55. That's what the guy selling it anyway said. Any recommendations of trying to use a two-handed sword? And honestly, I think the longsword's not a bad place to start. Yeah, it's just a longbow. I'm fond of the sallet. Homemade arrows, no. But I've picked up some when I bought the bow. Fortunately, I don't have many great places to shoot the bow, so I don't get as much practice in with it as I'd like. My favorite sword is the one behind me. Right there. That's my baby. Do I like closed burgonets? Yeah. How is my musket sling? Oh my gosh, there's so much. How's my musket sling attached? It's got, the musket has some loopy bits, and then, I mean, I guess I could get down, maybe. How much mess would it be to get it down? I'll work on that. Thank you, Bobadilla. Is there a sword I'd recommend for what? There are many kinds of swords, and no one sword can do everything. So, specifically, what kind of sword are you looking for? My favorite pole arm is the bill hook up there. German style halberds, but Italian style bills. Yeah, like a German. I mean, oh my goodness, I have so many things to show. Hello, Josio. I am easily distracted. I am working on it. So I actually worked out with the bladesmith. I'm going to ship. Basically, we're just going to split the shipping costs 50-50. So I will pay to ship it to him. He will fix it at no charge, and then he will ship it back to me. That's the agreement we've come to. I use, oh my gosh, I'm easily distracted so easily. I use navel jelly to remove bluing from steel. I have a bottle of it right here. So you can see it. This is what it looks like. It's very caustic. Use gloves. Probably do it outside. Yeah, that takes the black off. It works shockingly fast. You think you've got more time than you do, and then it just eats it away in front of your eyes, and you're like, whoa. Okay, so I'm going to do a 2-for-1 here. I want to ask if I own any antiques, and then a halberd enthusiast joined, so I will do that. I will give you all. I've never actually shown off the halberd on live, so tripping on my own floof. It's a little hard to string a bow with those on. They get in the way a little bit of stringing the bow. Oh yeah, I had to. Oh yeah, it started raining on me. That's why I came in.
I thought you came into the dark.
No, it's dark because it's about to rain. All right, antiques. I have to wear the fancy gloves for this. All right, fancy gloves go on. Especially since I've been sweating. Challenge, put fingers into gloves. Difficulty, impossible. Okay. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Get the fancy gloves. Okay. Oh, here goes Hans. Hans is gone. Poor Hans. No, there it goes. Back you go, Hans. Poor guy. Nice. All right. There you go. This is my antique halberd from, what was it, 1560, circa 1560. I just really get hooked on 1560, apparently. Yeah, like the 1560 apparently just became my decade over the past, like basically in the last year, 1560 just became my decade. I started buying things from 1560, and I started planning for things for 1560, and I started buying clothes that were in fashion for 1560. It's just where I'm at, apparently, because I have this from 1560, an antique, original German halberd from 1560, and then I have these prints right here, which were both made in the 1560s. I think one might be 1570 something. One of them might be in this. I think one's like 73. I think this one's 73, and I think this one's like 70 or 64 or something like that. I've got it written down somewhere. Why the new halberds don't have? I mean, I feel like this new, like modern reproduction halberds, or yeah, the holes are just pretty. Long hair would definitely cause problems with helmets, depending on how long it is. You're gonna want to like do that up somehow. You're just gonna. I mean, gosh, even with my hair, I will often put a cap on because it's just hair is annoying inside a helmet. It just is. See, I'll usually throw like a coif on just to contain my hair because the last thing you want is to like put your helmet on and then have this happen, and you're like, doesn't work. I shouldn't have touched my sweaty hair with my nice antiquing gloves. No, not a male coif, a fabric coif. You would wear like a linen coif as basically like a hairnet. You put or Buzz Lightyear. You put on the coif is your Buzz Lightyear hood, and then you put armor on top of that. Oh, yeah. There's just going to give the halberd some more time. What is the purpose of each of the sides? Well, I mean, this is your axe head. You know, this is the main business end of the choppy. And then on the back, you've got a hook. This right here is mean business, but then also both sides you can use to grab and pull with. Alternatively, you can push with both sides. I think the pushing part gets overlooked a lot of time because you see this and you're like, hook, grab with the hook. But I think just as important is the ability to catch into this space and then push things away from you or push them down to control them. You know, there's respectively, you know, working this, you get some sort of overbind on their weapon, and then you catch them into this space here, and now you can drive that down to create space to then come back up and do nasty things from there. Or if you are working with other people, this is where the halberd like really starts to shine, is when you're working in tandem with other people, because now you have something that you can use to collect opposing weapons, and then maybe like the guy next to you takes the opening while you're basically controlling them. Because it's never the guy you're fighting that gets you, it's the guy next to him, or the one next to him is. It's just people up and down the line looking for targets of opportunity. Up you go. In you go. Okay. Okay, excellent. That's back. That's a weapon that looks cool, but it was kind of useless. I don't know. I guess it'd probably be most of like pistol swords and stuff. Those look cool, but they're just janky. They're the Kriegsmesser. You know, it occurs to me that if I just keep wearing the gloves, I can just touch stuff and not have to oil it. It's a nice thought. Maybe I'll just do that. Maybe I should just wear these every time I'm streaming. I can stop oiling things. Yeah, here's the Kriegsmesser. There you go. You all wanted the Kriegsmesser. There you go. Kriegsmesser. Yeah, I am getting pretty close to 700. I played a little bit of Chivalry too. Yeah, the twisty cards are nice. I have not used a Dow. I do. This is one of my favorite swords. I love this thing. It's so light. Lovely. That was a thin blade. Telescoping halberd. I guess it would take up less space, but it'd be weaker structurally. They're just for show. They just look nice. They don't really do anything. No, I'm right-handed. The pants are from. Where are they from? The brand. It's called. They're Leo Caligay, Caligay, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know my Latin very well. Go. Perfect. Yeah, the pseudo-hosen. Yeah, that should be fine. I like capes. I have a cape. So yeah, that's right, TD. So is a Ren Fair a good place to get a sidearm? It depends on your standards, and depends on the Ren Fair, I suppose. I have never been to a Ren Fair where I have found the swords to be to my standards. Let's just go with that. We'll go with that. But there are many people who are very happy with their sword purchases at Ren Fairs. So, more power to them. Making your own gauntlets for longsword, that is entirely your hands. I would be very dubious of making gauntlets for other people unless you have a lot of experience making gloves. But if you want to put your own hands in your own gauntlets that you made, that is your choice to make. I haven't been to too many venues. So far, Carolina Ren Fairs, I mean, okay. I'm in North Carolina Fair. There's some other ones. I've been to one in Virginia before. I remember liking it, but I would like to go to more. Thank you. Yeah. I am doing well. I just put the bow away. Oh yeah, they're not the cheapest things, but they're also like puncture resistant, so that helps. You're gonna pay cash for anything in HEMA stuff. It's yeah. The main thing with these is that the outer layer is not puncture rated or anything. They're not technically puncture rated, but they're meant to. But oh yeah, this is the fun part. Look, I can do this. I can unzip my poofs. I don't know if I've ever shown anybody that these can do that. Oh yeah, there's a rip right there. Yeah, there's a puncture hole right there where I must have gotten stabbed in the leg at some point. Again, the outer layer is not puncture resistant. The fact of the matter is that the inner layer is. So I've got a hole right there where I got stabbed at some point. I don't know if that's showing at all. Yeah, there's a hole there where I got stabbed. But then the inner layer is A-okay. And there's like Velcro in here, so you can put pads in if you want. When I wear these, I will actually open the poofs up and I will put my knee pads on inside them because I am all for having non-visible protection. If you're trying to, portray unarmed fencing, then having a bunch of elbow pads and arm guards and big gauntlets and then big knee pads and big shin pads, like you just look like you're wearing armor now. So anything I can do to hide the protection and give the impression that I'm just wearing clothes, I will usually go for that. I need to get some new discreet arm guards to go inside my sleeves. Currently, I'm using some beefier external ones, but I'd really like to get some light internal ones, so that's on my to-do list. But yeah, these go down to, you can see they go down to like my calf. So all of this right here is a pocket where you can fit a knee pad underneath the poofs. I've got shields. Ugh. I don't like using shields, but I have them. Okay. Let me get my limb in here. I got this one, and I've got this one. There we go. Got my shields. I do not have any Purple Heart facers. Do the pants breathe? They are no worse than any other fencing pants that I've worn. Let's go. They're not like super breezy, but the extra fabric has no noticeable impact. I think the extra fabric is breezy, but the base layer isn't, and that's the case for all fencing pants. So you're basically just wearing fencing pants with a very thin, floofy layer on top. Do I have any beef? No. I'm not a vindictive person. I don't like getting involved in drama. I don't like stirring up drama. I like to live and let live. And then poke people with swords. Armor's tricky. I don't have much in the way of. It's a lot easier to give sword recommendations than it is to give armor recommendations, because armor is this. It depends on what you want. There's so many elements. I don't like making armor recommendations. They just. It's fraught with pitfalls. I don't like to tell people things and then have them make mistakes, and then it's very challenging to do armor right. The cuts on the shield, yeah. Yeah, the damage on the shield is real. That is. Yeah, this is not this is not a display shield. I use this thing. So all that is, yeah, that's all fighting. It's held up really well. There's a pretty nasty gouge right there, but yeah, it's got a rawhide trim, which is holding up really well. This is tough stuff right here. It's not something to leave near dogs that like to chew rawhide, though. They will go for it. I never let them. I kept that thing hidden away from the puppies. I started doing HEMA in college. That was almost 11 years ago now, thereabouts. Okay, so let me just go ahead and knock this one out. There is a piece of fluff in my nose. Oh, here you go. I'm getting out for Sita. She can't hear me. This is my #1 recommendation for a beginner longsword. It is a Regenier Shorty. If you are under 6 foot, you get the Shorty. If you are over 6 foot, you get the regular. That is the way of it. If you're under 5 foot, get the mini. Well, how do you find this? Do you find it? Okay. Yeah, I'd say if you are 5 foot something, you get the Shorty. If you are 4 foot something, you get the mini, and if you are 6 foot something, you get the regular. Yeah, tip to floor. So for reference, I am 5'11". I'm 5'11". That's on the floor. That's like solar plexus. I'm a big fan of this length. I use that on my own personal sword. Yeah. So yeah, this is my wife's sword. This is my sword. Hers is in much nicer condition than mine. Slow motion takes of some of the videos. Yeah, I'm intending to circle back to that the behind the back thrust one, because that deserves a breakdown. I find that part of the reason why I gravitate towards the shorties is I find just a 5 centimeter difference in the blade length dramatically changes the handling characteristics. And I find it's usually well worth the trade-off of the 5 centimeter reach to just have something that just zips around so quickly. It's very smooth. What is the longest sword I have? Oh. The Montante, I suppose. This one's just kind of buried right now. That's why I groaned, because it's buried. Up, 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 up. There we go. Oh, there's fluff in my nose, something awful. Yeah, this is my biggest sword. Big enough that I have to be mindful about where I'm moving it. Almost doesn't fit in frame. Big sword. I have got to do something about. Oh, this is so hard. Okay, in you go. Easy does it. You know what? That's probably okay. I don't think that's going anywhere. I think we're good. Ugh. Pardon me. I need to. Ugh. Clear my nose. Oh, there are absolutely techniques and swords for horseback. That is a whole. That's a whole thing. That is. Do I have anything that shows it? I don't know. So I don't ride horses. So I just it's one of those things where I acknowledge that it exists, and I also acknowledge that I'm never going to do it. So whether or not I have anything that has horseback techniques, that is the question. I don't know if I do. This might. I don't know if this includes the horseback section. I don't think it does. Nope. It is strictly on foot. Oh well. That was my best bet. Oh wait, or is this one? Oh, now I have to check the other one. This is the tangents I go on. This is also strictly on foot. Then I have struck out. I think my copy of Jude Lev does, but it doesn't have pictures. So that doesn't help us. So I have struck out, unfortunately. What do I think of stabbing swords like the S-Stock? I think they are very purpose-built to do one thing, and they do that one thing very well. I don't like synthetic swords. I don't. I flat out, I do not like them. They are cheap, which is good if you're on a budget. I have this one. I don't like it. It's floppy. It feels yucky. I don't like it. I have one. I don't think that they're really all that safer either. People kind of think of them as being the safe alternative to a steel sword, but I mean, they're still solid. I mean, it's a club and it weighs about the same. You're just hitting them with hard plastic instead of metal, and you know that sounds better. You think of plastic and you're like, oh, it's not as bad as metal. It still clobbers people just fine. Rubber tips can potentially be. They are grippier. So if you land a thrust on the head, it's not likely to glance off. Fencing masks try to glance stuff to the head. Rubber tip is likely to grip and then drive them back with the full force. It's this never-ending debate between do you tip the swords or do you not tip the swords? If you tip the swords, you get that higher concussion risk. If you don't tip the swords, you get an increased puncture risk. Not depending on the. Yeah. I guess that sums it up. Yeah, I'm not going to tangent. But that is the ongoing debate. How do you maintain a sword with the nastiest looking wet or oily rag you could possibly imagine? I will take my fingers off of this and they will be oily. So just get yourself a nice, good old rag. And this used to be white, by the way. This is my beautiful eyesore in my collection here is this. And you get yourself some oil. I use ballast oil. I have it somewhere, but honestly, I don't really need to. There's so much oil saturated in this thing that I don't actually oil it very often. I grab the rag and then I just whoop, and that does the job. All you need is just a fresh coat of oil covering the sword. Now, if you do get rust, there are some options. On nicer swords, I'm going to be a little more careful with it, but all of my training swords, like this one, which is the ones that are most likely to get rusty because I don't baby them, I take care of them. You know, I wipe them down every time I use them, but I'm not going to sit there and like make sure I get every single inch of it because I'm constantly using them. So with a sword like this, I would just take a scratch pad of some sort, and then you just scrape the rust off. You just grind it away, and then you treat it with more oil. If you want, you can polish it back up, but again, training swords, they don't have to look but so nice. Although my swords definitely look a lot nicer than some people. I've seen some truly disgustingly patinaed swords. Oh, they're rough. a bit of patina. I can work with patina. I have swords with patina. This is my first fetter. Yeah, this is, look, so for comparison, this is my first fetter, and this is my current fetter. And you can see, probably in the pommels, you can see how much brighter this one is. You know, nice and shiny and white that one is. This one is developed a very deep patina at this point. But it's not rusty. It isn't rusty. It's just old. Patina happens eventually. I've never done anything with my scabbards. I suppose you probably wouldn't hurt to treat them with leather conditioner if you really want to keep them in tip-top shape. Could you? Oh, interesting. Putting a small buckler on the arm and then trying to dual wield, would that work? I think that's more trouble than it's worth. Bucklers are. I think people I think often people overestimate the weight of swords and they underestimate the weight of shields because it's the wood and the plastic thing again. You think steel, metal, heavy, dense, but swords are thin. So yeah, metal might be dense and a lot of it gets heavy, but you know, in moderation, it's not that much to deal with. So between the two of these, yeah, these are basically the same weight, these two right here. So if you wanted to wear a buckler on your arm and dual wield, you're basically carrying double the weight on that arm. And so you're just going to be weighing down that limb with a buckler. And I think you'd be better off ditching the buckler and just put on a vambrace. It's going to be less, because you're already getting protection to that limb from the sword, right? You've got depending on how much hilt you have, you might have a lot of protection on that limb. Let me just grab I'll just grab this here, right? Like if you've got something like this, suddenly your arm is pretty well protected anyway. So I think adding a buckler on top of that is just, you're wasting your carrying capacity. You're going to weigh you're just going to tire that arm out faster. I would just go with a lower profile vambrace instead and minimize the weight while still giving yourself protection from people trying to get those like snapshots onto your arm. My favorite sword, okay. I use rem oil. I have some mineral oil, actually. I do have some, but I will get to the favorite sword. Give me a moment. I'm just looking for my rem oil. There we go. Here, or no, sorry, not rem oil. Not rem oil. Never mind. I've been misspeaking this whole time. Don't do rem oil because rem oil has carcinogens and they will soak into your hands. So if you're doing rem oil, wear gloves, non-permeable gloves. You don't pick up the carcinogens. I use ballast oil, which is not carcinogenic as far as I know. Don't drink it though. Do not drink it. Favorite sword. Okay. Favorite sword right here. This is my completely custom sword. Oh, they added the Highlander? I have not tried him yet. I've been waiting for them to add him. Oh, this chat is too fast. I've possibly. I aesthetically prefer swap tilts. Oh yeah, I mean, saber would be weird to Morchlog with. I think the curve would be a bother, but you can 100% Morchlog with a one-handed sword. I mean, the only difference between a longsword and a one-handed sword, is potentially nothing more than the length of the handle. You could have a one-handed sword blade on it and still have functionally a longsword because it has a longer handle. There is absolutely nothing stopping you from doing some sort of Morchlog with a one-handed sword. It's a little bit trickier, I think, because you'd probably still want to two-hand it, I think. Just, if it slides in your hand, ooh, ow, you got sliced. And you're going to have a much surer grip if you Morchlog with two hands. You are much more likely to maintain your grip on that sword with two hands than you are with one hand. So I'd say that's the main consideration is if you want to Morchlog with your one-handed sword, you would go boom, boom, wham, and then transition back, just so you don't run the risk of, unless, of course, you've got like a gauntlet on, and then at that point, Morchlog all you want, right? What do I think of the hidden blade from Assassin's Creed? Oh, I've gone on this whole tangent before. My wife and I remember me ranting about this. I think the hidden blade's kind of dumb, but I like it. Let me preface this with saying I like the hidden blade. It is fun. It is an enjoyable gimmick. But why? Why would you ever, as an assassin, choose to wear something that marks you as an assassin if you get like frisked? if all they have to do is like pat you down and they go, oh, you're an assassin. You're not just an assassin. You are with the assassins. We're going to kill you now. And like that's the problem with the hidden blade. Yes, it's sneaky because you can hide it up a sleeve. But heaven forbid anybody notices you have it. When you could kind of just do the same thing with just have a shank, right? Like you can just have a sneaky little spiky doodad in there, and then you just whoop. You could hide it. You could grip it by the blade or something, right? And then, I mean, I know you can go hands free. There are options here, but I mean, you can ditch this, right? Like if you think they're about to, the guards are coming, you can be like, whoop, right, and just toss that into a bush somewhere. You can, with the hidden blade, you have to like unbuckle it, and you're like, oh, the guards are coming. There's no hiding it, despite the name. That's my thought on the hidden blade. They're really cool, but I think they are fundamentally flawed in that respect. Like if you're going to use just like something ordinary that's not going to ever draw attention, I don't know. That's my rant. Yeah, like a stiletto. Yeah, just it's something you can ditch, right? I've done some ringing. I don't spend. I should do more wrestling than I do. It's a little hard. We used to have an indoor location where we had mats and we could practice throws and stuff. So we'd have a wrestling class after class. So we'd do sword fighting class and then we do wrestling class. So we would do both. But after COVID, basically axed that place. So we haven't had a venue that's safe to do wrestling at. So I haven't really had a chance to practice any since then. Other than, I mean, I'll do like standing grappling and stuff, but nothing to the ground. The smallest weapon I have, not counting like a teeny tiny pocket knife. I have something smaller than this. This is pretty tiny. This is my little bill hook. pretty tiny. How many in the? I don't know. I don't know how many in the collection. So many. Favorite sword. Someone's asking favorite sword again. Back it comes. Ta-da! Wow, that's thick. Not even sharp. But I'm gonna get worked on. We're gonna get it fixed. It's gonna be better. It will be better. Just wait. You wait and see. It will be enhanced, improved, made better than it is presently. You wait and see. Magnificent. It's got so much potential. Look at that thing. Boom. You can use it in two hands. Isn't that exciting? It has an extended pommel. So it's got essentially a one. That's part of the problem, is that this is really supposed to be a one-handed sword that has an extended pommel, but it ended up with a blade as long as my other long swords. But this was really supposed to just be a one-handed sword that had a long handle on it, so that you could use it in two. I was looking for something basically more like this, lengthwise, and then just you could use it in two hands, and balance-wise too, for that matter. This is, I can just feel my wrist just tense from holding this thing. This is a wrist workout. Now, if we were, I would assume about, I mean, if we were to revert back to the Stone Age, how long would it take us to reinvent swords? I suppose it would depend entirely on if we still remembered stuff from before times. Yes. Still flaunting that. You know, this like gap space here always makes me anxious until I remember that there's a metal bar right here. So one thing to remember about this is it's not just about where there is actually metal. It's what is in the way. So yeah, you might throw a cut for this hand, but if you want to get to the hand, right, if like it might look open from this way, but as soon as you throw that cut into this hand, you've got that bar there to deal with. So there is a small gap right here that could be not pleasant, but not much of the hand sticks out into that space. Yeah, that's about the one opening. Is it would have to be a shallow cut, and it would have to catch you like this, which is also unlikely. You're not really gonna walk around with your sword like this, right? It's gonna be out like this, more likely. So at that point, now you really have closed off a lot of those cutting angles. It's not about completely removing them. It's about making them very challenging to get to. But if you want to completely remove them, then you go with them like a cup hilt, but that's more metal. I don't own a trident. Best fencing, maybe, in my opinion. Ta-da! I mean, this is entirely just because I'm studying it. But ooh, pretty. And open to like a lovely, isn't it? What foot would I lead with when we're using? Oh, that's a good question. Using rapier and cloak, what foot would you lead with? That depends. It depends. There are reasons to do one or the other. I think generally you will find people doing right foot forward or sword side forward. I think that's when it comes to rapier fencing, your length is often a pretty significant advantage. So keeping, this is the business end that actually does stuff. This is shielding you. So generally profiling that, but you might, if you are trying to set up something, if you want to deny them the opportunity to find your blade, you might have reason to switch to a left foot forward posture, and then you are trying to set something up with the cape while keeping the rapier withdrawn so they can't gain access to your blade as easily. And you're trying to do something here, and then you whoop, and then you pass through with the rapier at that point. So there's reasons to do both. It just depends on what you're prioritizing. Are you focusing on just using this as a way to just protect yourself, and then you're just doing rapier fencing, but now you've got this thing that you can do stuff with, or are you actually trying to play a game with it? I put this in the wrong way. The right way. Tape. Ooh. Lovely. I have a cape. Technically a shoulder cape, but whatever. Cape. I don't love this cape, but it works. I used it in a tournament once. That's why I bought it. I needed a cape for a tournament. I'm gonna cover up the mic. Potentially. Yeah, I might switch which foot's leading. I like sallets. Sallet. Armlets are fine. I have played half sword, yes. Ooh, that's exciting. Congratulations. Oof, oof. Is there a name for the technique where one crouches down to further reach? So I assume this is talking about that one video I had about crouching and maintaining your reach. It's not a technique, it's just a concept. Although there are techniques that will cause you to do that, but it's just geometry. Right? If I want to cut at the same length, Pythagoreans with the word, someone else write it. Pythagorean theorem is, I'm bad at math, but essentially if I have a single point here, I will get better distance. My x distance is at its maximum when I am completely horizontal, but as I lower my angle there, I am actually losing x distance as I basically use that length into the y distance. It's, again, bad at math. But yeah, this is why I don't do Distrezza, because I stick to the German stuff because there's no math in the German stuff. They don't talk about math. They just say before and after. I'm like, I got it. Great, thanks. Don't come at me with geometry lessons. I won't pass. But essentially, your maximum reach is when you are profiled with your arm out straight from your shoulder. Any deviation up or down will reduce your effective reach. So to maintain your maximum reach, but to attack a lower target, you lower to the level of the target. Now, in the video I posted, that is one of the videos where I wish I could just retroactively add and insert an addendum to it, because they have a few videos that still get comments to this day that I'm like, I know I'm getting comments, and I don't blame them for the comments. I know why they're saying what they're saying. but I don't have the capacity to go back retroactively and insert the snippet I need to that explains the situation. So tangent, basically everybody's like, who's gonna fight? Like, why are you gonna just squat down and cut at them from here? I'm like, not, it's not it. It's not it. It is a dynamic body movement. I don't have room to do this with a sword, so I'm going to put the sword down. So the idea, of course, is I am working at the level of my shoulder. I am not, although I have seen a video, I think it was on False Edge, where a guy did just pop a squat and throw the cut. But in practice, it's probably going to be more of a dynamic like step and cut, right? You advance towards them, and as you do your advancing step, you sink into the step, and that is how you maintain that shoulder level to the target. It is not fight, 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 up, fight, 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 down, up, fight. It just doesn't work like that. Oh yeah, yeah. I'll definitely do some harness stuff in the future. I'm working on a project there. Currently, my harness situation's a little. I have the Aegis overlay for my mask. That works fine, but I really want to do the full helmet thing, so I'm working on that. My sallet for it is it's a project. It works okay, but it leaves a lot to be desired. So I'm just trying to get to a place where I like my armor harness enough to want to fight in it. But it's not there yet. I've looked at a little bit of Distreza, but again, anything that starts to get in geometry, I start glazing over. For Boohurt, don't fall down. Unfortunately, a lot of my tips are for a different kind of rule set, I suppose. Oh, it's an Italian versus German longsword stuff. They have more in common than not. Polearm ranking. Like what? My favorite polearm? The bill hook. My favorite. I love the bill hook. And then halberd as well. Basically, literally my two favorite polearms right there in that corner. These are my two favorite polearms. My two favorite forms of polearms, for that matter. So, bill hooks come in a lot of varieties. Halberds come in a lot of varieties. I have the good fortune of owning my two favorite kinds of each. My favorite guard, I've really taken a shine to Vexel. I'm a Vexel kind of guy. I will usually start stuff from Vexel. I do not own a Bardiche now. Vexel is the change guard. There we go. I don't have enough room for anything. So there we go. This is gonna be my demo sword because it's got a nice, I can do two-handed stuff with it. I can do one-handed stuff with it. And it's short, so I'm not gonna hit anything with it. I do play Kingdom Come, yes. So Vexel is like this situation here. So it's kind of like Alber, but it's off to the side. I like it. I'm a big fan of it. I will fence from Vexel a lot. If you've ever seen some of my sparring videos, you probably see me doing this. I love this. I'm a fan of this. I will a lot of it. I will basically work along this kind of plane here So I will either be down in Vexel trying to bait, or I'll come up to like Zorn or something like that, and then back down to Vexel, back up, back down, back up, and I will generally stage a lot of my actions out of this space. Right, I might flick up to long point, I come up to cut, or I might come down from cutting down to Vexel. I like. I don't do it often because it's a big wearing. I always forget that sometimes you all don't know what I'm actually answering. I don't do much full armor stuff because it is a pain in the butt. If you've done armor stuff, you know how annoying this is. There's nothing easy about armor. It is all of this surface area has to get oiled. And that's not just the outside. You have to oil the inside. You have to, the straps, the buckles, the things, they're always getting worn out. It takes half an hour to put on, takes half an hour to take off, takes half an hour to clean, takes half an hour to put back on the stand. Trouble. That's why that thing just stays there all the time, because I can't be bothered to put it on. Which is why I own a second set of armor. Honestly, that is a strong compelling reason why I own a second set of armor. I have the one armor. I got so sick of trying to put it on all the time. I'm like, this won't do. I just need to buy a second set of armor. So I bought a second set of armor. And then I got sick of putting that one on. So now that one stays up on the wall. Oh, it's a mess. But that one, the other one's a lot easier to put on because it's a munitions style armor, so it's all very self-contained. This one, you have to put on a whole thing. You have to put on the arming doublet, which is basically a corset. There we go. Okay, I don't know where I got cut off. I was ranting about putting on doublets. Basically, my frustration with the army doublet is you have to start at the waist and you have to lace it all the way down and you have to cinch it in real tight, and that takes forever too. Ties to that, blah, blah, blah. Munitions armor is nice. It all just goes on as one unit. You just throw the whole thing on. The most realistic lightsaber form, all of them, none of them. Lightsaber forms are not deep enough to actually reflect fencing. They are all aspects of fencing that have been sliced and diced and dispersed between different forms. They're not counting the crazy force-powered influence from like Ataru, but those are their own thing. But even then, they are just slices of the skill set a Jedi should have. You should be able to defend yourself, or you should be able to take the offensive. You should be able to fight, online single opponents. You should be used to fighting multiple. These are all things that collectively should make for a well-rounded fencer, but in the lightsaber forms are all super highly specialized, but also very, very shallow. Ah, it's a shame. I have to be all up on the camera now, I guess. No, I don't. My wife knows a bit of Spanish.
Huh?
You know some Spanish.
Yeah?
Someone was just asking if I knew Spanish. They're from Mexico.
I can't hear you over the birds.
Oh. I have someone watching from Mexico, and they asked if I know Spanish, and I said, I don't know much. I know a little bit, but
What do you say to te amo?
I'm not.
You just say
Te
the
amo
same
back.
thing.
I can say it
Te
back.
amo and there's another word. También.
También.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell them te amo. You love them.
Slap some swords together. So, slap some swords together. There. Slap. That's a big old ding. Yeah, that sounds like I'm at the forge. Loud. I am sorry for anybody who, I realize now that was probably very loud. I apologize for your ears. Yeah. Just ear blasted everybody. Oh boy, what gun? A bit. I had built a bit. I'm not sure. Yeah, I do wonder how chewed up blades would be. I think if you were fighting with them, it will, like, if you actually drew your sword in a battle, I would imagine you will need to get that thing serviced afterwards. I don't see any way it is getting through that without incurring some serious edge damage. Not necessarily critical or like catastrophic edge damage. It's going to be like a saw blade afterwards. So you're going to want to immediately get that back up. So doing Zweihander stuff is sort of a solo journey. There are some clubs that do it, but I think for the most part, there aren't many people that do it. And for most of us, it is very much a solo journey thing. So I recommend finding a manual. Figueiredo is a good choice. He's pretty basic, simple. And because you can't, Montante, Zweihanders and stuff, they're too big and too heavy to spar with. Every time I see people try, it does not go well. So don't do it. Do not do it. You will feel bad because you just made the person buckle over and cry uncle. And they will feel bad because they just buckled over and cried uncle. So don't do that. Montante Zweihander is a solo journey. It is something for you to practice on your own and work on your form. Oh, that's interesting. Gosh, I do want. Yeah, I wonder how often someone would have drawn steel. Well, drawn steel quite a lot, I imagine. But whether or not they ever used it is. I think the best way to do that would just be to look at the lives of some people and just see what they accounted for. Oldest iron weapon I own is this halberd. That halberd, that is a original halberd from about 1560 or so. Thank you. Fool's Guard. It's fine. I find that it doesn't tend to get you much. It being a bait guard doesn't work when everybody knows it's bait. It's the problem with the fool's guard. Is everybody knows what you're doing. They all know. You know what you're up to. It doesn't. You're not going to bait them in like this. What you can do is use it as transitional bait, right? You can throw a cut. Yeah, I mean, just for argument's sake, let's say I'm fighting you, right? I might be sitting here doing my thing, and maybe I go like, whoop, and I go here. Now I look open, right? This looks like something you want to hit. That's, if I'm just in full guard, I just go like, come on, do it. Hit me. Go. You know something's up. This is too obvious. You need to make it more convincing, give them something, and then play off of what you give them. Boom. So down, maybe you go boom, bah, whatever. Make it work. So I assume you're talking about Vexel then at that point, holding rather than down the center, off to the side. So that'd be Vexel, the change guard. Vexel. I like Vexel more than Fool because Vexel is a bit more loaded for a cut to come back out. With Fool, you have this little bit of a flicky thing you can kind of do, and you can pop it up into a thrust. But if I'm down here, I can pop it up into a thrust too. I'm not gaining, and I can even do the flicky thing from here. I prefer to just have it off to the side. I like the angle of it more. It's a very subtle shift, but it just loads the rising cut, way better. I afford the equipment for HEMA by having a job, and then also I have a channel. The two together make for a bit of disposable income to spend on swords. I do not. Most of all this, people ask about how I afford all this. It is, you're looking at it. I afford this because of this, because of this. It's this reciprocal cycle. I buy things that I use as props to make videos. You watch the videos. I use the money from the videos to buy more props to make more videos. You watch those videos. I go back and forth. This is how it goes. So before you know it, it adds up after a while. The kid's back. Yes. Teach about swords to get money, to buy swords, to teach about swords, to buy more swords, to teach about swords, to buy more swords. It's how it goes. I like two-handed swords mostly. Both. Medieval and Reynolds, both. But I'm going to wrap it up here. We have company over now, so I will wrap this up. Oh, you have to leave? Yeah. Oh, well, I should still wrap it up anyways. It's been about an hour and a half. Anyways. If you want to do Messer, Lehoopner is a good choice. Let's see, the inverter from the Zerkow section of the, from which section? Oh my god, I do have a scar somewhere. It's like over here. Anywho, yeah. Thanks for joining me. Also because my mic's dead, so I need to charge the mic. So I hope you all enjoyed. I'm trying to think if there's any last thing to show. No, I think that covers it. All right. Have a good night, everyone.